This is how I received the sled when I purchased it. Hello, John Deere snowmobile fans. So here I have another 1984 John Deere Liquifire. I just finished the restoration up on this sled. 2 years of hunting for parts and slowly but surely got it back together here. When I bought the sled, it showed up in a basket. It was literally, so I watched it travel around the internet. Somebody else started this project a few years ago. They tore it all apart. They were gonna finish it. I think it was obviously their intent. They tore it all apart, and I think they realized they got in too deep and realized the project, there was a lot to it. So I picked it up from another gentleman who had the intent of, he bought it all ripped apart and he was gonna finish it. And he was in the middle of restoring several other sleds. And you know, he called me up and he said, you know, I know you want this sled pretty bad because it's a sequential serial number to your other one. He goes, I'll sell it to you, but you're gonna have to buy it in a box as well, just how I bought it. So I bought it from him, basically sight on sea, and said I'll take it, because it was the next one off the line after the other one that I totally nut and bolt restoration. So this is my third 1984 Liquifire. I own 4 of them now. I actually found another one in a junkyard about a month ago. So this one here was missing so many parts. It was really weird what it came with. It came with 6 different carburetors. Only 2 of them were actually for the sled, according to the italicized writing on the side of them. And it came with 3 sets of drivers, 1 track, which isn't even the track I got under it. I put a different track in it that's a little nicer. And it was missing a ton of parts. Like, I had to hunt down, I wanted to make this video showing this restoration on this YouTube channel, but unfortunately I am not very tech savvy, and as you can tell, I stutter a lot, so I'm not gonna make the best content in the sense of quality of video over a course of 2 years. So a little backstory too, what I don't do when I do a restoration, or what I'm not talented enough to do it, let's put it that way. The seat, I had to pay somebody to recover the seat for me. I had to pay a gentleman out of Illinois to paint the hood. And then the other thing, the crankshaft was done out of a gentleman out of Indiana. And the clutch was done on this sled. Normally I do my TR800s. This sled's clutch was done by a gentleman out of Ohio. And you'll know why when I open the hood, because he's he's just a total artisan when it comes to clutches. It's a work of art. So I collected parts for a course of 2 years, and there's a lot of NOS parts on this. So the dash is original, the tack is original to the sled. That's it on this whole dash. This is a reproduction. This is new old stock. Hand warmers are new old stock. Choke cable's new old stock. This is unfortunately a reproduction. I couldn't get an NOS one at the time. This is NOS over here. And just tons of NOS parts. And yes, the stainless does not belong on the snow flap. That is just something to kind of clean it up a little bit. I added it, but technically it should be just rivets. Everything is powder coated. I had this bulkhead all apart. Let me see if I can open the hood here for you guys. I'll show you under the hood. Even got the new check oil stickers. So here we have it. NOS secondary clutch. It's got, if you actually look at the AM number, it's going to come up for 1980 to 81. But so what you do to modify it to make it work for the TR800 is this tower. You change this tower, and then you change the hard washer in here. So this tower is out of the original secondary right here. These towers, it goes into the back, but the shivs are the same. I mean, runs identically the same shivs. This part number's, you know, NOS. This is NOS. These shivs are both NOS. But the towers are the original ones to the sled, because to make it work for the 1 3/8 belt. Has the hard to find TR800 wing guard. You know, this, I don't know what you want to call it. It's like an extra guard they got in 82, 83, and 84. Then I have this clutch here that was done by a gentleman out of Ohio. You know who you are if you see these videos. I don't want to mention your name because I don't know if you like that or not, but he does a phenomenal job. Yeah, I'm running a Polaris belt. I know it's kind of sacrilegious on a John Deere to be running a Polaris belt, seeing they bought out Deere, but it fits nicer. I like this belt. Get a little more giddy up out of the motor. The correct studs are not supposed to be these tower nuts. I run these 8mm tower nuts on the heads just because the first Liquifire I ever redid, I had the heads lift using the original acorn nuts, and they say, now I don't know if this is true, but they say the studs do stretch. I personally don't want to buy all new studs and replace them if I can just buy a whole pile of, you know, tower nuts and bolt them down with that. I've never had it leak. I've done 8 motors like this. They've all run really well. Got all new oil injection lines, all new crank seals, new pistons, rings, wrist pin bearings. This thing got the gamut. Even brand new Mikuni genuine carb boots, the short ones, so the air box can be removed without taking the fuel tank off. It's got its correct HSR ignition. It took me a while to hunt down a rev limiter for it. This one's rev limiter was bad, but I was able to track one down. Open this up here real quick. So it's not NOS, unfortunately, but it works and the sled runs with it. So even this sled's got all the right tubes, the correct down tube, correct air box. It's got the correct italicized writing on the carburetors for 82 through 83 and 84. You can't see it on this side, but if I come around, you can see it says Mikuni in italicized instead of big letters that say MIC. Same carburetor, just the writing's fancier, an 82 up. I don't know why they did that, but they did. The hood is where I made my mistake. When I painted the hood, I had a 1980 hood painted. So my fix, because to paint a hood is expensive. I don't know how the heck I blundered like this, but I did. So my fix was I put in a piece of flexible plastic that matches the paint color. So you can't tell when the hood's closed that it's got a 1980 hood. Because the rest of the hood's the same, other than the fancy plastic. Put all new egg crate foam in it, so it looks like it did. Brand new old stock windshield from the 80s. That's why it's like tinted gold. It stinks like crazy. It smells like puke. One reproduction vent here. Couldn't get a nice original. Yeah, I mean, all new Heim joints. These are all NOS Heim joints on both sides. Even the steering bar that goes under the motor, that's new old stock. I threw the gamut at this one. I hunted down all the new old stock parts I could find for it. I wish that I wouldn't have screwed up with the hood, but you can't even tell. If you look at it now with it closed, it looks like it was painted to match. The grill here, you can see the silver lines in it. I had to make up my own square headlight bezel grill. Unfortunately, these bezels are discontinued, and so what this is a 1980 Sportfire bezel cut out to be a square headlight bezel. And then I put the black painted louver in the front like the Liquifire is supposed to have, but you can still see the silver from the Sportfire in the bezel. All powder coated skis, carbides from Excalibur under it, new shocks, new ski insulators. And I even went as far as back here. Fox shock. This is the original suspension. Looks like I got into a little grass today. I'll have to clean that off. All powder coated, all new bearings, all new cross shafts, new high packs. Let's see here, we'll start her up. I think this sled had a safety flag on it at one point in time, because I don't know why else you drill one hole on one side of the tunnel but not the other. So we'll start her up here if she'll let us. Popping. Ran it on the hayfield a couple times and it sounded alright, but now that it's sitting here I'm sitting here, that rev limiter does sound like it might have some diesel pop in it, so maybe that used rev limiter is no good. So I might have to pull it off, because when it was running without the rev limiter, it ran phenomenal. You stepped on it and it tore off, but that time it did not seem to like it. But it is warm out too today, but the diesel pop tells me that I think the rev limiter is actually no good. So I might have to unhook that. I was hoping that used one was finally a good one. I bought another used one off eBay. I got like 5 of them I've tried, and every time I put it in, it gets a nasty diesel pop or rev up pop. I have one that it wouldn't even tack up over 2300 RPM. But then you unplug it and it goes like a, wild man. It really flies. But thank you for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If we had more snow, I'd do a flyby video, but snow is not great. Very warm. It's 40 degrees, I think, today. Thanks again.